Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope you have enough time so I can play the little bit of a snippet interview of an inquisition between Lloyd Austin, our former Secretary of Defense, DOD, and also Senator Gatz when he was asking him about the preparedness of the F-35. This is a very important video because I keep on saying about Patrick Shanahan, former Deputy Secretary of Defense, when he was asked about the F-35 program, and he said it was fucked up. And there's even a general within the context of my speech now who even admitted that the F-35 was fucked up. We're going to continue. Enjoy it. Sit back and listen. And everything that we do, this is no conspiracy theory. This is a fact, Jack. And just sit back and listen. America's defense is in danger. The truth about the F-35 and corruption, the corrupt accreditation system. Ladies and gentlemen, my friends, my business associates, I come before you today not with opinions, but with hard truths that our government and military-industrial complex have been covering up for years. The F-35 program, the most expensive weapon system in the history, has been a disaster, and even our own top officials admit it. The problem is not just the plane itself, but the corrupt system that allowed it to happen in the first place. Patrick Shanahan and the F-35 failure. In 2019, the acting Secretary of Defense was quoted. A former Boeing employee was investigated by the Pentagon's Inspector General. The investigation wasn't about fixing the F-35's issues, but whether he had unfairly favored Boeing over Lockheed Martin when it came out that the investigation was something even more shocking. He was a 30-year employee of Boeing. He was hired by President Trump in 2017. This article is referencing his inquisition of 2017. He was seen probably by another manufacturer or another military complex, and the jealousy started. And as my dear departed grandmother would say from Europe, there's no antibiotic for jealousy. So he was brought in to be inquisitioned. Here is a federal employee, a representative of our United States, and this is what he said. Shanahan was quoted as saying, "I did not say the F-35 aircraft was fucked up. I said the F-35 program was fucked up." Think about that. Not just the jet, but the entire program. Even Air Force General John Hyten, commander of the U.S. Strategic Command at the time, admitted, "Many people criticize the F-35 program. I've criticized the F-35, and yet despite these admissions from the highest levels of our military, the F-35 has been allowed to drain trillions of taxpayer dollars with underperforming at the embarrassing level. The F-35, a flying money pit. The facts speak to themselves. The F-35 was supposed to replace multiple aircraft types, but has struggled to do so. Costs have skyrocketed far beyond what was promised, making the most expensive military program in history. A 2023 Pentagon report found that only 29% of the fleet was mission ready, meaning 71% of them were not combat capable. The aircraft has suffered from critical design flaws, maintenance nightmares, and cybersecurity vulnerabilities. But here's the big issue. The same corrupt accreditation system that has failed the F-35 also is in charge of America's safety and quality standards. The real culprit, ANSI, ANAB, IAF. The American National Standards Institute and the American National Crediting Board are the root cause of this failure. These organizations control quality certifications, yet they are completely corrupt and compromised. Here's why. ANSI and ANAB control who gets certified, but they don't actually enforce quality. They are tied to foreign entities, including China, through their role in the International Accreditation Forum, an organization that oversees accreditation bodies, both national and international, and were founded by ANSI ANAB. ANSI ANAB does not properly audit defense contractors, allowing companies like Lockheed Martin to cut corners and still get approved for quality. Why? Because ANSI ANAB have Lockheed sitting on their board next to the FAA. I have a letter from Miss Lisa Gross from 2015, and she said, we only accept IAF accreditation bodies. Why? Because at the time when she said it, the IAF had been watched over and controlled by Communist China from 2015 to 21. We have the letter. We have that. We'd gladly show it to you. 203-556-1493. Call me, and we'll gladly ship it to you. Government agencies that should be protecting us, like the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Defense, and the FDA, FAA, etc., are actually, and I'll tell you who they are. It's the Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Commerce, and also the FDA are actually not just members, but they're customers. They are customers of ANSI ANAP. That means they have a conflict of interest and won't investigate corruption. What needs to happen? If we do not fix it now, America's military, economy, and national security will continue to crumble. Here's what we must do. Demand a real American accreditation system. No more foreign control. Yes. Daryl Guberman. Guberman PMC. Yes. We've been based for 14 years fighting this scam. We've been involved with quality for 40 plus years. Hold ANSI, ANAP, and IAF and their sister organization, ILAC in Australia, accountable for corruption. Reform how military contracts are awarded. No more blank checks for companies that fail to deliver, like on a standard operating work order for our Department of State that said the accreditation body must be ANSI, ANAP because they are underwriters for the IAF, and that's from 2018. The government invited China in because the IAF, that ANSI and ANAP are underwriters, which means they take all legal responsibility, both systematic and product failure. They take it all. That means that they allowed China in because between 2015 and 2015 and 21, the IAF had been controlled over by a communist Chinese national, Zhao Jinwu, who was not just the IAF chairman, but he was the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services that certified the laboratory in Wuhan, China, where the virus escaped. Exposed government officials for protecting the system, like Richard Blumenthal, Rosa DeLauro, and Chris Murphy, and others, and in Connecticut anyway. The F-35 is a symbol of what happens when we let corruption take over. If we don't act now, we won't lose billions of dollars. We will lose our national security in America. I, Daryl Guberman, am exposing this question. Will America listen before it's too late? And I am going to let you listen to the actual subcommittee meeting with Senator Gatz and Lloyd Austin, the former Deputy Secretary of Defense on the F-35.
Closer to home, and the F-35 program. Is the F-35 program a failure?
No, it's...
Okay, so let's go over, how much does an F-35 cost?
Well, it depends on the variant, but...
100 million? Safe to say? 100 million a copy? Okay, so we just had the Air Force in here, and I said, what percentage of these F-35s are fully mission capable? And they said 29%. Do you have any basis to disagree with that assessment?
I don't have any basis to disagree with the Secretary.
So at 100 million a copy, 29% being fully mission capable, does that seem low to you?
It's a complex airframe, and again, there are a number of reasons why a platform could be not operational at any one given time. But
right, but I mean, how
having
many?
said that, it is one of the best aircraft in the inventory.
The best aircraft in the inventory. Well, Mr. Secretary, there's a GAO report that takes a very different view. Mr. Chairman, I seek unanimous consent to enter the GAO report entitled F-35 sustainment costs will continue to rise while planned use and availability have decreased.
Without objection, so ordered.
It reads, costs to sustain the F-35 fleet keep increasing from $1.1 trillion in 2018 to $1.58 trillion in 2023. Yet DoD plans to fly the F-35 less than originally estimated, partly because of reliability issues with the aircraft. The F-35's ability to perform its mission has also trended downward over the last 5 years. Is there any of that in the GAO report that you disagree with?
I don't. No.
Okay, so